Good day everyone. I'm Alvin Clint L. Marara and kasama ko si Joshua De Fiesta. At sa video na to ay didiscuss namin sa inyo ang geothermal power plant at hydroelectric power plant. So now what we're going to discuss is the geothermal power plant. The definition of geothermal power plant is the geothermal power plants are used in order to generate electricity by the use of geothermal energy, or the Earth's internal thermal energy. They essentially work the same as a coal or nuclear power plant, the main difference being the heat source. So basically, yung geothermal power plants is gumagamit ng heat from the inside of Earth. So yung geothermal power plant is nagwo-work siya the same as coal and nuclear power plant, which is gumagamit ng heat, and then yung heat is kino-convert yung water into steam, and then yung steam yung magpapaikot ng mga turbine para makapag-generate ng electricity. And then yung pagkakaiba lang nila is yung geothermal power plant ay gumagamit ng heat from the inside of the earth. So sa working principle is basically by harnessing the power of earth, which is yung geothermal energy na nanggagaling sa ilalim ng lupa, is nakakapag-produce ng power, heat, or cool our homes and businesses. So yun yung essence ng geothermal power. So harnessing power from below. So makikita natin dito na lumalabas sa bulkan yung steam na nanggagaling sa ilalim. So sa ilalim, andun yung geothermal reservoir. And para ma-harness yon, dito napapasok yung mga geothermal power plants. Kasi nakakalabas lang tong steam through volcanoes or earth cracks. So para ma-harness to is dito napapasok yung geothermal power plant. So next is the ranking of largest geothermal plants worldwide as of January 2021. So according to Statista. So ang nangunguna is yung the geysers, which is matatagpuan sa United States. And ang capacity niya is 900 megawatts. And then kung mapapansin nyo is kasama yung Philippines, which is 1, 2, pang-apat, Macban, which is capacity niya is 458 megawatts. And then next is the top 10 geothermal countries. So nangunguna pa rin is yung United States. And then next is yung Philippines. So according to Think Geoenergy. So ito yung Macban geothermal power plant na matatagpuan sa Pilipinas. And then yung top 1, which is yung the Geyser geothermal power plant. So sa ideal location ng geothermal power plant is syempre yung may geothermal resources. And saan ba matatagpuan tong geothermal resources? It is usually found sa mga lugar na may vulkan or yung tinatawag na ring of fire, which is encircles the Pacific Ocean. So when magma comes near the Earth's surface, it hits groundwater from in porous rock or water running along fractured rock surfaces and faults. Hydrothermal features have two common ingredients: water or hydro and heat thermal. So geologists use various methods to find geothermal reservoirs. Drilling a well and testing the temperature deep underground is the most reliable method for locating a geothermal reservoir. These reservoirs are deep underground and are largely undetectable above ground. So yung mga geologists is gumagamit sila ng mga method para makakita yung geothermal reservoir. So ang nangyayari is dinidrill nila or nagdidrill sila ng well and tinetest nila yung temperature sa ilalim. And yung reservoir na yon na hinahanap nila is masyadong malalim yon, and hindi basta-basta madetect sa ground. So ganito yung itsura ng ideal location. Yung may mga hot spring, yan. So moving on, merong iba't ibang types ng geothermal power plant. And isa dito is yung dry steam power plant. So bakit ba siya tinawag na dry steam power plant? Kasi ginagamit niya directly yung steam na nanggagaling sa underground. So yung working principle ng dry steam power plant is dry steam plants are the most common types of geothermal power plants, accounting for about half of the installed geothermal plants. They work by piping hot steam from underground reservoirs directly into turbines from geothermal reservoirs, which power the generators to provide electricity. After powering the turbines, the steam condenses into water and is piped back into the earth via the injection well. So, para mas maintindihan natin, ito, yung dry steam power plant. So, the hot steam daw from underground is piped directly into turbines, which power the generator. So, yung steam na nanggagaling sa ilalim is directly siya ipapump or ipapipe pala doon sa turbine, and then babalik din yun sa ilalim. Another look of dry steam power plant. So, dito makikita natin yung kung paano siya tumataas and dumadaan sa turbine and then bababa ulit sa ilalim ng lupa. Another illustration of dry steam power plant. So yung pipe na nasa kaliwa, which is color in red, is the steam, and then tataas yung steam, dadaan sa turbine, and then pagkatapos sa turbine is papasok sa condenser, and then mako-convert siya into water which is in color of blue, and then bababa ulit sa underground. So the next one is the flash steam power plant. So uh, unlike dun sa dry steam na directly pinapump yung dry steam na nanggagaling sa underground, is dito dumadaan muna sa, or yung water ang ipapump, yung hot water ang ipapump sa tank, and then yun yung magkakos ng steam. So flash steam plants differ from dry steam because they pump hot water rather than steam directly to the surface. These flash steam plants pump hot water at a high pressure from below the earth into a flash tank on the surface. The flash tank is at a much lower temperature, causing the fluid to quickly flash into steam. The steam produced powers the turbines. The steam is cooled and condenses into water, where it is pumped back into the ground through the injection well. So, para mas ma-appreciate natin yung flash steam power plant, ayan. So, makikita natin na pinapump yung water or yung hot water papunta dun sa flash tank. And then, yung flash tank naman is due to its lower temperature, magkakos siya ng steam. And then, yung steam, yung magpapaikot sa turbine. And then, yung steam is mako-convert ulit into water and then babalik sa ilalim. So, another illustration of flash steam power plant. So, yung hot water is mapupunta dun sa flash tank. And then, magge-generate siya ng steam. And then, yung steam is aahon doon sa mga turbines. And then, siya yung magpapaikot ng turbines. And then, yung steam is bababa dun sa condenser. And then, from steam, magiging tubig ulit siya, which is pupunta ulit sa underground.
So, I'm Joshua FT Piesta. So, I-continue for the geothermal power plant. So, diniscuss na yung working principles, yung dalawang working principles ng geothermal power plant. Yung flash steam power plant and dry steam power plant. So, didiscuss natin yung last, yung binary cycle power plant. The binary cycle power plant, the main difference is that the water or steam from below the earth never comes in direct contact with the turbines. Instead, water from geothermal reservoirs is pumped through a heat exchanger where it heats a second liquid, so like isotin, which boils at lower temperatures than water. So this second liquid is heated into steam, which power the turbines that drives and generator. So the hot water from the earth is recycled into the earth to the injection well, and the second liquid is recycled through the turbines and back into the heat exchanger where it can be used again. So this is the binary cycle power plant. And then yung init ng yung init dadaan siya sa heat exchanger, then mag-exchange siya, yung hindi tubig yung mag-exchange kundi yung liquid, yung tinatawagan nating isobutene. Then ang isobutene, the working fluid, pasok siya sa turbine, nasa generator, then mag-generate siya ng electricity. Then iikot lang ulit, dadaan sa may cooling water, cooling tower, then babalik lang ulit, then geothermal fluid is flow. Next is the constructions cost. Uh, the construction cost of geothermal power plants is high, but operational costs soon become relatively low. So this means that even though geothermal energy becomes financially worthwhile, in the end, the cost power plant constructions may put geothermal energy out of the question. The advantages of geothermal power plant. So meron siyang advantages siyempre. So the advantages of geothermal power plants, sustainability and consistency. So geothermal energy is renewable, so it's both more environmentally friendly and less susceptible uh, to, to natural resources far than fossils fuels are. So geothermal can consistently produce energy output 27 uh, 24/7 hours regardless of weather condition or seasonal changes. So yung advantages niya rito, 24 to 7 hours na siya nag-generate ng electricity. The next, disadvantages, syempre may disadvantages din yung geothermal power plant. So, geothermal power plant are the graphic limitation and high cost associated with power plant constructions. So, this need to build over regions with underground reservoirs of hot steam or water. Dito, pwede nating tayuan ng geothermal power plant yung mga uh, volcanic, yung merong heat changer, and then yung hot spring pala, and then yung geyser. So yun yung mga location lang na pwede natin pagtayuan ng geothermal power plant. So thought it's technically possible to engineer enhanced geothermal system. So EGS in on suitable environment at highs in practical to do. So EGS required extensive space, so planning, constructions, government oversight, and capital, and can only be accomplished by federal or state governments and petitions. So that's all. Thank you.
Hydroelectric power plant or the hydropower. So, ano nga ba yung hydropower? So, yung hydropower is yung energy na nakikreate ng tubig or ng moving water. So, ang working principle ng hydroelectric power plant is hydropower plants capture the energy of falling water to generate electricity. A turbine converts the kinetic energy of falling water into mechanical energy. Then a generator converts the mechanical energy from the turbine into electrical energy. So next is the largest hydroelectric power plant. So ito yung top 5. And then ang top 1 is yung the Three Gorges Dam na matatagpuan sa China. And ang installed capacity niya is 22,500 megawatts. And then next is the top 6 to top 10. So, next naman is the largest hydropower in the Philippines, which is yung Magat Dam. So, the Magat Dam or the Magat Hydroelectric Power Plant is one of the largest hydro facilities in Luzon with a maximum output of 380 megawatts. So, yung Magat Dam is isa lang sa largest facilities or hydro facilities in Luzon. So meaning meron pang iba, pero yung Magat Dam yung largest. So the construction of Magat Dam, so yung construction daw ng or yung pagbuo ng Magat Dam is nagsimula noong 1975 and then natapos noong 1982. It is one of the largest dams in the Philippines. And then it is a multi-purpose dam which is used primarily for irrigating about 85,000 hectares or 210,000 acres of agricultural land and power generation through the Magat Hydroelectric Power Plant. So, yung Magat Dam is multi-purpose dam siya, which is ang pangunahing gamit niya is for irrigating. And ang ini-irrigate niya na lupa is about 85,000 hectares. And then, the dam is located within the boundaries of Naminglan, Alfonso Lista, Ifugao, and Ramon Isabela. So, next is the construction of hydroelectric power plant. So, paano nga bang tinatayo yung hydroelectric power plant? Nasa tubig. Paano siyang nagagawa sa tubig? So, the construction of these dams is difficult and labor-intensive. Before construction begins, water is diverted or prevented from moving through the construction site. So, ayun naman pala. So, bago daw magsimula yung construction, yung tubig is pinaprevent na nila from moving or pinaprevent nila na sa paggalaw para masimulan yung or pinaprevent nila sa paggalaw doon sa construction site, doon sa paggagawan. And then, after water is diverted, the foundation area is cleaned, excavated, and rock or sediments that will act as the foundation are repaired and deemed solid. This is done to ensure the rock or sediments won't shift or fail as a result of the loading of the dam and reservoir. Supports known as rock bolts may be used to strengthen the foundation. Above the dam, rock bolts and netting may be used to prevent rocks from falling on the dam. Forms are then built along the edge of the dam. Rebar is placed inside and concrete is pumped in. This is done in sections and the concrete is poured bit by bit in a block formation. So, paano nga ba nag-ooperate yung hydroelectric power plant? So, una, sa dam, most hydropower plants rely on a dam that holds back water, creating a large reservoir. And then, next is the intake. Gates on the dam open and gravity pulls the water through the penstock. So, yung penstock is a pipeline that leads to the turbine. Water build up pressure as it flows through this pipe. Next is the turbine. The water strikes and turns the largest blade of a turbine, which is attached to a generator above it by a way of shaft. Generators. As the turbine blades turn, so do a series of magnets inside the generator. Giant magnets rotate past copper coils, producing alternating current or AC by moving electrons. The next is the transformer. The transformer inside the powerhouse takes the AC and converts it to higher voltage current. And then power lines. Out of every power plant come 4 wires the three phases of power being produced simultaneously, plus a neutral of ground common to all three. And then outflow, used water is carried through the pipelines called tail races and re-enters the river downstream. So, ito yung mga uh, na-mention kong parts kanina. And then, ito naman yung animation kung paano nagwo-work ang hydroelectric power system.
Continue discussion of hydroelectric power plant. So, for the hydropower dam design, so meron tayong tatlo na design ng hydropower dam. So, first is the solid gravity dam, arc dam, and buttress dam. So, dito kadalasan natin ginagamit, yung solid gravity dam. So, for the next, so this is the plan design of hydropower dam. So, ito yung plano kung paano natin gagawin yung hydropower dam. So, for the main factor that determines that dam power output. So, first, the amount of electricity hydropower plant produce depend on two factors. So, meron siyang dalawang factors. The first is how far the water falls. And second is amount of water falling. Or how far the water falls. So, the farther the water falls, the more power it has. So, generally, the distance that the water falls depends on the size of the dam. So, the higher dam, the farther the water falls and the more power it has. So, scientists would say that the power of falling water is directly proportional to the distance it falls. In other words, water falling twice as far has twice as much energy. So, dito kadalasan, kapag malakas yung bulto ng tubig o marami yung pasok ng tubig, so maraming nakokolekta na energy. So, amount of water falling. So, more water falling through the turbine will produce more power. So, the amount of water available depends on the amount of water flowing down the fiber. Bigger rivers have more flowing water and can produce more energy. So, power is also directly proportional to river flow. A river with twice the amount of flowing water as another river can produce twice as much energy. So, next is the tallest dam. So, pinakamalaking dam in the world is Nurek Dam na meron siyang 984 feet and 300 meters tall. So, at meron din siyang 726.4 feet, 221.3 meters tall. So, yung Nurek Dam, matatagpuan siya sa Baksh River in Pakistan. And however, the dam still ranks in top 20 of the tallest dam in the world, but only in the concrete, gravity, and arc category. So, the dam failure. So, ito yung mga dam na mga nasira. And yung una yung Bangyao Dam, Henan in China. So, in 1975, Bangyang Dam failures, 26,000 death from flooding and 145,000 death from subsequent famine and epidemic. So 11 million homeless, cause loss of generation, dam failed by overtopping in a 1 in 2,000 years flood, 1975. And then yung Machu Dam in India. So the Machu Dam in second collapse, leading to the leg of the city of Morbi and the surrounding rural areas. In 1,800 to 25,000 people were killed. So, meron siyang namatay yung 1,800 to 25,000 people yung namatay. So, damage ay next is yung Oroville Dam in California in United States. So, damage spillway caused evacuations of 180,000 in 2017. So, that's all. Thank you.